So here's the thing: hard work does not pay off, results do. And that's something that I had to learn the hard way in the workplace, right? Because coming up from the township, black neighborhood, colored neighborhood, that's what you taught, right? The harder you work, the harder you try, the more you will be rewarded. But what I discovered in the working world is that you are rewarded based on what you deliver. So it's your results that need to speak for you. And this reminds me of a very painful performance appraisal that I went through once, where, yes, I had put in so much effort, but in as much as I had gone through some of the milestones of the project that I worked on, at the end of the day, those projects were not fully delivered. They would be like 70%, 80%. And at my insistence, I thought, okay, I mean, I'm measured on the progress, the project completion, percentage completion, and that was not the case. My performance appraisal said that the projects had to be delivered by such and such a time, and they had not done so. And it really felt like all that effort that I had put in was for naught. Yeah. Even though it wasn't, but at the end of the day, from a scorecard point of view, I hadn't delivered. So when it comes to hard work, um, it doesn't always work. Let me put it that way. What you need to do is work smartly and focus on what you need to deliver. So, what really does work is strategy in terms of how you plan, how you're going to go about doing things. And number two, what does work is consistency. So, for example, how did I graduate at the top of my class at the age of 44 for my MBA course? I had two young children, I was already married, and I was already working in a very demanding executive job at the time. So when it comes to time pressures and just the demands of life, those were already like top. Like I was completely stretched at that time. So I had to strategize, think about, okay, how am I going to make things work? Because I've already signed up for this thing, I'm in it, I said I want to do it. My company had made a commitment to support me on my journey. And so there was no chance of me just failing, number one, and also just not taking that journey seriously. So this is what I did. I strategized and sacrificed my morning hours, right? So because I was working and the pressures of growing children who were at school, so after work was just not a time for me to be studying. I also was doing my part-time classes immediately after work, right? So I would knock off at about 4:30, 5, 5:30. I would be in class up until 9 p.m. So when it came to the strategy and the consistency, I had to build a system whereby I needed to study. Okay. So it was hard at first because I needed to wake up very, very early. So what I did was to study for 2 hours every weekday. Okay. So from Monday to Friday, I had to wake up 4 a.m. And then between 4:30 and 6:30 a.m., I would be at my dining room table studying for 2 hours before I even got ready for work. Okay. So that's the part that I strategized. And that's the part then that I committed to in terms of being consistent, because I had to do that every day of the week for 2 years. That's a long time, right? So let's talk about the hard part when it comes to hard work. So the hard part was getting started. Yeah, because it was always convenient to wake up a little bit later and then get into my day and then think of, okay, where am I going to squeeze in the time? So the hard part was waking up early. But once I got into the groove, that stopped being hard. Now it became consistent. And when something becomes consistent because you're so used to doing it, then it's no longer hard. In actual fact, that was very smart what I did, because I could literally wake up, do my studies, and know that that's out of the way. And then when I get to work, I'm focused on my work. When I get home, I'm focused on my family, except for the days that I had to be back at the business school for class time, right? And it also helped me to front load my time for the weekend, where I wasn't overburdened with having to catch up on work that I couldn't get through during the week. Yeah. So it's about smart work, and not necessarily hard work. In comparison, from a work point of view, when I go back to that project, I think when you work hard, it can be very disillusioning, because what you'll see is that there are people who are working much more smarter, and using the leverage that they have to get through the deliverables much quicker. And so you being the person that's putting all that effort and all that time, and then at the end of the day, not delivering, then you become the person who's frustrated. You are the one who's disillusioned. You're the one who's exhausted by all this effort, right? When all you need to do is find ways that you can work smarter, that you can do things much more easily. And that sometimes takes you thinking about systems that you can put in place to make things easier for you, right? So that you don't have to think about things and that you don't have to put in so much effort. You also can think about support that you can lean on, be that friends, family members, or just relationships that you can have, that you can lean on and use as a leverage in terms of getting from point A to point B. So the thing about hard work is that it assumes that everything must be done by you. And that's not how the world works. We are social animals. We are also created to help each other and lean on each other. And so, what we must learn to do, and something that I have been learning to do, and I'm still in the process of learning that, right? Because it's also a hard habit to break when you've been taught to be self sufficient, self reliant. It's not easy for you to ask for help from other people. But one of the easiest ways to work smartly and not hard is to ask for help from other people, and ask it early. Okay, so that you don't have to waste time working through the things, and only when you are stuck and you've lost a lot of time, maybe you've invested some money in something and now it's money gone down the drain, and then you ask for the help, and then you have to do the thing twice as hard, or even invest twice as much to get through what you could have gotten through in the beginning. Okay, so you need to think about leverage. What are the things that you can leverage on? Whether it's relationships, whether it's systems that you can put in place that's going to make things easier for you, that you can get to your results much quicker and much easier, and without physically, mentally, emotionally exhausting yourself, right? And that's been a hard lesson, because we've been taught it, and I'm sure you've been taught it, that hard work pays off. Not always, and I would like to say that actually it doesn't, because there are always people who do things smarter, more efficiently, much faster, and you have to be able to observe and learn from those people in terms of, okay, how do they do it? Because hard work, at the end of the day, because you are leaning only on yourself, you can only spread yourself so thin, and so you become exhausted. You can even become jaded, because you feel hard done by, to say, okay, why am I working so hard and other people are doing less and getting more out of life? So learn to work smart and learn to build systems so that you can have access to leverage, so that things become easier for you.